Hey everyone. Today, we're diving deep into the life of one of the most notorious and wealthy mobsters in American history, Anthony Fat Tony Salerno. Born and raised in East Harlem, Salerno was a powerhouse in the New York Mafia scene, especially in the 1980s as the second most powerful man in the Genovese crime family. So, buckle up as we unravel the thrilling tale of Anthony Salerno, the mobster who controlled New York's construction industry and amassed an unimaginable fortune. Our story begins in 1911 in New York City, where Anthony Salerno was born to Italian immigrant parents, Alfred and Mary Salerno. Growing up in East Harlem, which was then home to one of the largest Italian-speaking communities in the US, young Tony was thrust into a world where survival depended on street smarts and toughness. By the time he was just a teenager, Tony had already joined the infamous 116th Street Gang, led by Michael Trigger Coppola since 1932. This gang ruled Little Italy in East Harlem, controlling local bookmakers and illegal gambling dens. Under Coppola's mentorship, Tony learned the dark arts of usury and extortion, proving to be a quick and capable student. The 1930s were tumultuous times, especially when Lucky Luciano was imprisoned in 1936, and Vito Genovese fled to Italy. Coppola seized this opportunity to dominate organized crime in Harlem, and Tony was right there, absorbing every lesson and making a name for himself. By the mid-30s, Tony was already earning big bucks from his street activities. When Coppola had to flee to Florida in 1948 due to murder charges, Tony stepped up. Although the exact timeline of his induction into the Genovese family is unclear, by the early 1950s, Tony controlled nearly all of Harlem's loan sharks, raking in about $50 million annually. FBI reports even suggest that by the mid-50s, his earnings skyrocketed to nearly $1 billion a year, an eye-popping sum, even if exaggerated. In today's money, that's equivalent to about $500 million. But Tony's empire wasn't just about loan sharking and gambling. In the early 50s, he founded Metro Urban Music Company, servicing gaming and jukeboxes across New York. His headquarters, the Palma Boys Social Club in East Harlem, became his fortress. Tony understood the importance of community support, investing time and money to improve the lives of Harlem residents, irrespective of their nationality. Tony's inner circle included trusted associates like Alfred Shaky Coppola, who handled his accounts, Vincent Cavro, his brother Sereno, and Angelo Zanfordino, rumored to be involved in heroin sales. Tony also had connections in the world of boxing, befriending legendary trainer Cus D'Amato. Even a young Mike Tyson recalled seeing Tony and D'Amato together, indicating Tony's deep ties to the sport. One significant event in Tony's boxing involvement was in 1959, when he helped organize a match between Floyd Patterson and Ingemar Johansson. Although Patterson was knocked out, rumors suggested that he had been drugged, but it turned out to be a doctor's prescription to aid recovery, not Tony's doing. Despite being closely tied to Harlem, Tony's exact residential address eluded the FBI for years. After divorcing his first wife in the early 60s, he lived with a former prostitute, owning several properties in the Bronx and Manhattan. In the 60s, he bought a massive estate in Rhinebeck, New York, complete with a stable humorously named Fat Tony's Horse Farm. Tony's nickname, Fat Tony, initially bothered him, but he eventually embraced it. One memorable story involved him and his crew escaping a police stakeout through a window. While everyone else slipped out easily, Tony, true to his nickname, struggled a bit. In the late 70s, Tony faced charges of gambling and tax evasion. Represented by the legendary lawyer Roy Cohn, who also mentored Donald Trump, Tony managed to get only a 6-month sentence, which he fully served in 1981. However, prison life took a toll on his health, and shortly after his release, he suffered a stroke. By the early 1980s, Tony had climbed the ranks within the Genovese family. While some sources labeled him the underboss, the family leadership was murky. After Vito Genovese's death, a group of top mobsters, including Tony, Phil Lombardo, and Vincent Gigante, collectively made decisions. Tony's exact role was debated, but by 1981, he was a significant power player alongside Gigante. Tony shifted his focus from loan sharking and gambling to the construction business, partnering with the Gambino family boss Paul Castellano. Together, they built a construction empire, demanding a cut from nearly every contractor in New York. Tony's close associates in this venture included Vincent DiNapoli, who controlled drywall plants, and Larry Weir, who managed construction contracts. In 1985, the federal government indicted Tony in the commission trial, targeting 11 crime family leaders. Led by Rudy Giuliani, the prosecution aimed to dismantle New York's Mafia. Despite not being the Genovese family boss, Tony was seen as the main figure due to his immense earnings. The case against him was bolstered when his close aide, Vincent Fish Caffro, turned informant. Caffro's testimony revealed the Genovese family's extensive racketeering operations, including control over major business centers like the Javits Convention Center and the Coliseum. He also mentioned a personal dispute with Tony over a $75,000 debt, with Tony allegedly threatening him with a cane. During the trial, Tony remained stoic, even declining a healthier snack offered by a journalist, humorously noting it wouldn't matter since he expected to die in prison. Despite limited evidence directly linking him to murders, Tony was found guilty based on audio recordings discussing construction rackets and family membership. Tony's careful management of his criminal empire ensured he never got his hands dirty, but in January 1987, he was sentenced to 100 years in prison without parole and fined $240,000. A year later, additional charges added 70 more years and another $400,000 in fines. Tony's health rapidly declined in prison. Suffering from diabetes and later diagnosed with prostate cancer, he passed away on July 27, 1992, at the Medical Center for Prisoners in Springfield, Missouri, at the age of 80. Even in death, Tony's name held power. In 2013, a petty thief caught stealing from a New York cemetery quickly confessed when he learned he had desecrated Tony's grave. Tony's legacy even found its way into popular culture. Martin Scorsese's 2019 film, The Irishman, featured Tony, played by Dominic Lombardozzi, highlighting his influence in the American criminal world. Anthony Fat Tony Salerno remains an underworld legendary figure, remembered not just for his immense wealth, but for his unwavering loyalty to the Genovese family. His story is a fascinating glimpse into the life of one of America's richest and most powerful mobsters. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more thrilling Mafia tales.